Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Jira. If I did two videos, in the last video we were drawing in my sketchbook from the Jazz Art Box. We were drawing my Dungeons & Dragons character, Katrina. Go watch that other video if you want to hear an explanation of all that. Like I have my original drawing here. We are just redrawing this into here. Because my first illustration in this very nice sketchbook, I want to be epic, or as epic as I can muster. And so I took a little quick break. If I didn't put these into two videos, hi again, I'm back. I went to go get a drink and use the bathroom. And then now that's given this enough time to dry to where I can erase. I think I'm going to use my kneaded eraser for this because this doesn't have peelies. This is still a really good eraser. I used this and only this one for the original. And all the stuff, but as you can kind of see, if it'll show you, I don't know if it'll focus or not, but it's got little pieces of, what is this? Is it I forget what kind of eraser this is. I don't remember if it's like rubber, plastic, etc. Still good eraser. I'm going to use this for right now, so I have less to clean up. Also, I apologize ahead of time if I have burps. I needed something to kind of help with, I have like issues with my throat, like tons of issues, and one of the things that can help a lot of times is a fizzy drink, but fizzy drinks make you burp, so I apologize for that. One thing I have learned about all of this through my original practicing of drawing Katrina, always erase your pencil lines if you can before you start doing the alcohol markers. I already kind of knew that from a previous little fun drawing of Frisk from Undertale. And yes, I did name my cat Frisk based off of that, because he can't stop, won't stop, gonna do all the things, but he's also a sweetheart. So, however you played Undertale, he can represent that sometimes. But, he is very determined. But, yeah, like, I already learned that by forgetting to erase the lines before putting skin tone on that little quick drawing of Frisk from Undertale. But with the coloring of her fur pattern for Katrina, there's, like, once you put down the marker, it's very difficult to erase what's underneath it. So, like, some of it is lighter than others. I'm gonna do my best to try to do some lines, the guidelines, as best as I can. But I can only do so much. So now that we got all this, time to very carefully mimic her fur pattern, which I was going to do through the light board, but turns out this printed image is smaller than my original first inking And that's the original first inking is what I used to copy to here. So you can see a little bit how you can sort of see how it's a little bit bigger, just by a bit. And so I can't quite do that, so we're just going to freehand her as best as we can. I liked the fur pattern coming off of her eyebrows. I originally played around with some, I believe it was on this one. Yeah, on this one I did a whole bunch of, you see how I did a whole bunch of scritchy sketch? I did more than that and erased it and tried all these things. I did originally have her with one-eyed, like kind of a mask, sorta. And tried that because you see a lot of cats with this part as the white and then the rest of it as the colors. I tried it with it like split down the middle a bit and all that. And anyway, this is what I like. I think she looks cuter with most of her face white. And that's part of her whole thing, is that she is a bard, therefore she has high charisma. But I, myself, am not the best talker, which bards are supposed to be. So I decided that she was cute to make up for any of that happens. It's like, oh, well, you're adorable, so there's the charisma, in case you don't necessarily have all of the best words for the situation, kind of like right now. So I hope that, yeah. Also, you know, gave me some leeway for if I'm like wanting to play but I'm really tired and I don't say the most creative thing ever. It's not like, oh, okay, whatever. Let's see. I think I kind of did it like that. I kind of did that. This is why I like copying, because it's hard to do the same thing that you did. See, that looks, to me, that looks like it's more gray. There's more gray space, so I'm going to have to, yeah, I'm going to have to bring this in a little bit. And what did I do when I was originally doing this? I just kind of drew it, and it looked good. That was my mistake. There we go. That'll have to be what it is. Let's put it from this angle. That looks better. It's because I'm looking at it from this angle. Pencil, I don't need you untwisting. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing is her arms. She has, and that one I'm not so picky about because it kind of blurred away anyway. She has a little bit of a thing going on here. It's a little longer than that. Make a quick little mark there, and a little mark there, and then she has a little mark there, and a little mark there. So she has a splotch that comes, and you can see it underneath her shirt collar, neck opening. She has a little splotch from the other side, I tried to not be perfectly symmetrical, but still being symmetrical enough that it eased my love of symmetry. I'm really bad about that. You asked me to be random, it ain't gonna work. Say, hey, randomly do this. I'm like, you're gonna get crap if you tell me to. If I'm purely random, it's a scribble that doesn't make any sense at all, and it can't be turned into anything. If I try to be random, it always comes out structured, whether I mean to or not, on stuff. Like, it just is what it is. So, like, I tried to have equal amounts of gray and equal amounts of orange, but still make it not symmetrical. It was hard. I like geometry stuff. I love art, but I like a lot of stuff I like, and patterns and stuff is very, very geometric. I like math. Okay. And then that one's the weird one. Why did I do that? What's wrong with me? We go up here. Here. Okay. And then here. And then down here was like 3. Okay. And I liked her having white paws, like the little white front paws. Very cute, but still, this is much is white, and then this much is white. And then her legs, I really have no idea what she's got going on in this area right here. I have not thought of a pattern. I am not drawing her naked. That is not what I do. I don't care too much. If it comes to me what I want it to look like, then okay. If it doesn't, meh. I might draw her in a swimsuit at some point that shows like more of her pattern, but I don't care. The only thing that I knew was I wanted more white, like white tummy-ish kind of stuff. I know that right here is white, and then down here they're both gray, because it just looked nice that way, honestly. It just looked nice for her to have kind of socks on, even when she doesn't have her actual boots on. So, and a lot of people like that on a cat, so, and I just wanted it to be a little different, so I was like, it'll be gray instead of white, since she's already got a bunch of white. Okay. Okay, and then the tail. I honestly the tail came from a cat that I saw that was really adorable. And it was still a calico because it had all the conditions of a calico, but it was the most adorable little kitten. It was just a picture that I Googled and found, but it was all white except the tail. And the tail was just this solid, like orange, except for the tip. It was so cute. And so I knew I wanted that. I knew I wanted that. And I just wasn't sure if I was going to do, it the orange with the gray tip or gray with the orange tip. And I decided that I like the orange with the gray tip because I like orange tail. And I also don't actually have a cat in real life. I have 3 cats, but none of them are orange. So I am the orange one. There we go. There's her fur patterns. And now I gotta clean it up a little bit so that I have to kind of gently erase so that I can still see where the lines are. But once I put the alcohol down, it won't be like so solid of a thing like it was in the first one on her forehead. So that's always fun. Have to erase thoroughly. That's why I like this, because I can make it really, really thin. Really thin. You can just squish it, and you can erase with that edge. Or you can erase with a big wad of it, which you can't easily do with these things after a certain point. After a certain point, you've erased all the edges away, and you just can't get that fine of a line. So, erase very thoroughly the little scritchy marks that I made, and then erase very gently the outlines of her pattern. So you won't be able to see it that well, but I can still see it. And that's why I like layers in digital. Very, very gentle pressure. That way you still have the lines. Okay. I think got it. Now. Hey! I'm sorry. I don't know how long it took me to do the original. Just, it is what it is. Let me see. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the things that are with colored pencils, because I used a combination. Based on the notes I have, I used these colored pencils and these markers. So the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, they are oil-based, not wax-based. I've explained this a bit, but oil-based color pencils will blend with alcohol markers. Wax-based will not. Wax-based, it's wax. It's meant to put down a protective layer, essentially. It's the same thing as like you would mask something. A fun thing to do with a white color pencil is to draw something on paper and then paint over top of it, and most paints won't really mix with that. Or you can do, on that note, you can also do Vaseline. That's cool. Anyway, because these are oil, and not all of the Faber-Castell pencils are oil-based. So you have to get the Polychromos ones. I'm totally going to order more of these, even if it's just the individual colors, because these are so nice. They don't lay down as thick as the Prismacolor that I have, but the Prismacolor are wax. And again, I had like a lot of complaints about one Prismacolor versus another. So, and these are very consistent. And they blend with these alcohol markers. So, yay! I am looking into getting more of the Spectrum Noir Illustrator markers as well, hopefully sooner than later, because I love these. And I learned how to make brown, but believe me, I don't really want to do that. I have made a very pretty brown with just the markers and not any of the pencils, following Jazz's instructions, but that's a lot of ink to use up to make brown every single time you want brown. So I'm at least going to get some browns. Also some pinks, because I don't have a good pink. And it was very difficult to blend. I tried blending pinks, and I can get a pink, but it's not like a poppin' pink that you would want. So we're going to do this first. We're going to do her eyes, which was just this color, the light green. Okay, light green. Some of them have fun names. I need to sharpen this. Hold up. I got a new pencil sharpener. Yay! My other one is good, but it's open. And so I have to make sure I have a trash can. This one at least has a chamber, and I'm like, yes. Very nice. Is that even showing up for you guys? Barely. Well, it's showing up for me, so. And I just did solid bright green, because I could have done it a blend of something, but it honestly just looked better this way to me. So, there's that. So I'm going to put the green away. Now, for the nose, my notes said I used magenta, which is this one. It does not look like a magenta to me. It looks, at least, not vibrant enough from what I normally see magenta. But I used magenta and white and the pale tan marker. So I did this. And then this. And I need to sharpen that one too, because I used a whole bunch of it at some point. Probably testing stuff. Do you sharpen better in this one or the other one? This one. Okay. And then what I did for the pale tan was I used the tiny tip for it. So. And that's still not as light as what I did originally. So I'm probably going to take the blender. Oh, also, one little tip. Anytime you use the oil pencils with the alcohol marker, you're going to want to clean the tip of the marker just a smidgen. Because the oil, obviously oil and alcohol are not the same thing. But, like, it comes off pretty quick. It's just, if you don't want it rubbing onto your stuff, the next thing you do, you'll want to clean it. Yeah, I'm just going to lighten that up with the blender a little bit. That's better. Still not as light as the original, but that's okay. Okay, and then I used the blue, the light ultramarine for her earrings. And again, I need to sharpen stuff. Whee! My other sharpener's still a little bit better than this one, but at least I don't have a mess right now. I didn't need to deal with that on top of everything else that I got going on over here. Okay. Alright. And now I'm gonna do her fur next, because the ocarina is kind of in the middle of a whole bunch of blending stuff, and I don't want to blend the ocarina into the shirt accidentally, like the colors of the ocarina into the shirt. So I'm going to do her orange first, which from my messing around with everything, it was just, again, it was just the pale tan. That's all it was. Like, even though the pale tan does like varieties like this, if you layer it a couple of times, it gets darker, like with what I was able to pull off. What fell? What fell? Oh no! The eraser fell, which means it has a cat fuzzy on it now. That's why I kept it in a little Ziploc bag, folks. kitty cat fuzzies. Okay. So what I believe I did was, did I do it? I know I did it some with the brush, but did I use the nib at all? I think I did. I'm going to test it here real quick. You can't see that. There we go. Or did I do... See, you can get really fine details. It's just they feel a little more freeform to me, because I'm not as, like, I haven't used alcohol markers like ever until now. I don't count fiddling with them as using them. This is the first major thing I've ever done with it, and so this is my first experience, is what I will say, because anything else was just, it didn't matter. This matters to me. So I'm gonna outline her fur pattern with the nib first. So it went this way, because I know exactly where that nib is going. And as I get better at this, I will be able to potentially just do it like how other folks do it, where they don't even need the nib. Who knows? But since I have the nib, I'm use the nib. And then I'm going to go back over it real quick and carefully to add a little more pigmentation so that it looks more orange. I did indeed try my orange, which the color is amber. It's too dark. It is way too dark. It is so dark. So that's the amber, and this is what I'm working with. This is after it dried, but I didn't put like but one layer there. If you take this and add a hint of this, you can get kind of what I'm going for. But anytime I tried to actually use a hint of this, it was too much. So I just layer this, and I get the pale orange that I want. So, let's see. The next thing is her little nose area, which I liked coming down all the way the bridge. And you guys know me. Like, I'm not in any ways an expert, obviously, in this stuff. I just talk about what I did. And if it helps you figure out something, cool. If you just like hearing me chat, cool. If you hear something I say and then you're like, oh, did you know that you can do blah, 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 and it will result in blah, blah, blah. There you go. You can tell me that too. That's mostly towards Megan, because she watches these things and she also does art. So here we go. And now we are going to do this part very carefully. Just the nib. And then this part. The nice thing about these, I don't know what the originals were like of the Spectrum Noir markers, but supposedly Jazz's input about these markers is what led to this version of the Illustrator markers. I don't know what the other ones were. I think they're the classic or classique or however you want to call it. I don't know what they were like on Control, but I really like these because that looks the same as as this basically, and that was with just the fine tip nib versus the brush tip, and so I don't see a whole lot of difference. I just hear squeakiness is all that I see and hear. Like, as far as, is it better to use one end or the other? Well, I gotta move some things around. I don't have the most space here. I can rearrange it in the future potentially, but for right now, I'm pretty happy with my stuff where it's at. I also am a chaotic force of creativity. That's actually pretty good. I just came up with that on the spot. I don't know if I've heard that before, but I like that. Chaotic force of creativity. That's what I am this year. I'm just being very careful. I'm just doing a whole bunch of little strokes. Like, I'm sure someone else could possibly do this and be like, boom, done, but, you know. That's kind of how I paint, so. Little strokes, here and there and everywhere, blendy, blendy, blend. Except my choice of paint is not as permanent. I've been doing a lot of watercolor though. That's very permanent. You put it down, you can't get rid of it. But my preferred thing is acrylics because, whoops, I'm sorry. That's what's happening. I'm making the book slide and hit the camera. My bad. Stay, please. Thank you. Now I don't know what's going on. What am I hitting? Is it just the cord? I don't know. I have no idea why I was nervous about this. Once I start doing, I feel so much better. I get nervous about so many things, but this is how I know that this is something that I want to do a whole lot of. Just art in general, because once it's going, I'm at ease. I'm happy. And all that stuff. Everything else, I usually end up with a headache. That all the orange, except for what's in the ears, with the, like the inner ear that I did? Yes. Okay. Now I used Ice Gray 4. That was pale tan. The marker. This is Ice Gray 4. I have 3 grays. Ice Gray 1, Ice Gray 4, and Ice Gray 9. Very good selections. I 100% like them, and if I get any grays, I'm probably going to stick with that numbering system, because obviously they have 1 through 9, and then from what I understand it goes to black. But there's not just ice gray, there's like brown gray and green gray and blue gray, and you know, anybody that works with colors understands exactly what I'm talking about. There are different kinds of grays. There's 50 shades of grays. Probably more than that, honestly, because yeah. But can we distinguish them? But yeah, the 1, 4, and 9 is really nice. It's good coverage. Right here. Very faint. Middle. Dark. and you can blend all of them together to get all your in-betweens. And I don't really feel like I need anything else. So if I get anything that's like, I would consider this a cool gray, but not quite blue gray. That's why it's an ice. The cool gray seems to be like the most neutral gray from what I was looking at on the spectrum colors. The brown gray would be what I would definitely want to get next, because that's more of a warm one. It's not like, it's definitely not brown, but you can tell when you put it up against this one. This one's a cool one, and the brown one is a warm tone. That's closer to what you typically think of when you think of like just a random gray, like crayon or something. So I definitely want some of those. But yeah, I used the middle one for that, for her grace. And that is very interesting. It's very neat to see how this paper does versus the cardstock. I don't have any marker paper. Like, that's not something I've been able to get yet. So the only marker paper I have, quote, is in this book and in another sketchbook that I got that supposedly was really good with markers, according to Amazon reviews. I will be testing that soonish. I don't know if I'll record it, though. Maybe if I get to where I like the overall sketch. I'm not recording my sketching process, because that one I am doing directly into the book to get more comfortable with that. And like I said, my development process is not something that is glamorous at all stages. So maybe once I get to the part where I'm like pretty good with what I got going on instead of the feeling everything out stage, then I will record. Maybe. It really just kind of depends on what else I got going on. I want to do more of these, but I know that if I designate certain projects to recording, I end up with what happened with this, where I never get it done because stuff keeps coming up. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want to like have all my projects that I do fall into that little trap. So that's why I was glad I had the original of Katrina to still be like, I did do this, even if I had to wait to put it in here. I might just decide, it really might just be that I decide what my project's going to be right before I start doing it. So, holy cow, it's already been 40 minutes more. Yep, that's what art does. Okay, well, whole lot of me chit-chatting. I'm sorry. Yeah, I probably got to end it here. I don't know what I can edit out, unless you want to see me speed up. I don't know. I'm not really sure how much I was talking versus how much I was just doing. So I'm going to play it safe again and just say I'm going to end it here, and I'll start up in another video. Art takes a while. That's why artists charge a lot. You're also paying for their expertise and the years they spent at getting good, versus you didn't spend years at getting good at that. You spent years getting good at something else. Don't know why people think art isn't a real job. I wish I had had that attitude when I was younger, but here we are. So here we are doing art and enjoying it. I will have crochet videos at some point too, because I have some plans for that. But like I was saying, I don't know if I will like plan. I will probably just be like, I'm gonna do a video, and then I'll decide like 15 minutes before I actually do it, I'm gonna work on this. That way I don't make any promises that make me feel bad if I don't do them. / don't do something that I want to get done because I can work on it somewhere else, but not here, you know, all that kind of thing. But yeah, thank you for watching. I will continue this in the next video. Bye bye!